abusing me. She then told her mum told the head of her school, because we didn't go to the same secondary school. She was a good friend of mine. So she told the head of her secondary school, and then he alerted the authorities. So literally in the space of a couple of days, I came home and there was police and social workers in the house who informed me that they had, it had been reported to them that I was being abused.
And what was it like when all of this came to light? Because you must have felt even more isolated maybe when they found out, or what was it like for you?
Initially, I was scared at first because I was making my way home from school and my brother ran round the block because I was coming from my nan's house to say there was police and social workers in the house. So I thought I was going to be in real trouble, because even before that, my dad, he had tied me to a chair and beat me quite badly for the incident of running away from home. Wow. So I thought I was going to be in real trouble. When I got into the house and the police were there searching for, they had a warrant to search for the wire flex that he tied me up with. So they were searching in his decorating equipment, and the social workers introduced themselves to me. I went from feeling scared to feeling anxious, what was going to happen, to feeling actually a little bit relieved, because I didn't want him touching me anymore.
Of course.
I'd got to the stage where I couldn't take any more. And then the mixture of feelings that came across to me was sadness, because my brother and sister, you know, we had our little fights and scraps as you do growing up, but I felt sad that I was going to leave them behind.
Definitely. And what happened next?
They took me to emergency accommodation with a foster parent, and I was basically there for 6 months. The next day I had to go for a police interview. I had to go for an interview in a special suite with a trained social worker. And these people, you know, they were very, very good. They kind of eased me into talking about what had happened to me at home. And I had to also go to hospital for an internal examination. And basically, yeah, that showed that there had been actual sexual abuse.
So you stayed in quite a few foster homes, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
What was it like switching between families? How did that add or take away from what you were already dealing with?
Wow. For me personally, being in care just set me on the road to destruction. I'm not even going to lie, because...
In what way?
Basically, I already had a hatred of authority in adults. I started to get into fights. I started drinking to try and get away from the pain. This is all by the time I was 14. Started to smoke weed, get into fights. I had a really rebellious attitude. You know, I was like, you know, I was in foster homes and in kids' homes. And when, especially in the kids' homes and stuff, and even in the foster homes, when they used to tell me, the adults used to tell me I had to be in a certain time, I'd be, you know, like, who are you to tell me what to do? You're not my mum, you're not my dad. I did what I wanted all the time. And it just brought out a very negative side to me. I started to self-harm. There was no boundaries. There's no boundaries in my behaviour. And yeah, by the time I was 16, I ended up pregnant.
Wow, and that's another, I guess, chapter in your story and challenge. How have you managed to, I don't know, how did you manage to deal with all of this by the age of 16? I mean, what support structures did you have around you at 16?
They did try to give me some support structures. But the thing is that when you are dealing with when you've come from a background of being sexually abused, it's very hard for you to open up to adults, to open up to strangers. So I spent a lot of time in and out of therapy. You know, I was in psychotherapy, you know, cognitive therapy, all different therapies. I saw a psychiatrist as well, but I couldn't, for me to be able to talk about the abuse, especially with a stranger, I found it very, very, very hard. And also as well to have to deal with that. I tried to busy myself or distract myself by being negative. And it almost felt like to confront being abused, to confront the issue or to face the pain, it was almost like this lid that I just couldn't open. I felt that if I opened it, I'd be overwhelmed and I'd die. I literally felt that. But they had some support structures in place, but my mind was so messed up, I couldn't really receive that help. Some therapy I found good, because they did offer like group therapy in some of the homes with other kids, and I did have a really good psychotherapist. And I made some progress, but I just kept reverting back to the same behaviour because my emotions were messed up.
And at this point in time, were you in contact with your family, with your brothers and sisters at 16, or did you ever hear?
On and off.
On and off.
On and off, but it wasn't really their fault, because after I had left home, my father had made it very clear that he wasn't really happy about them having a relationship with me. And my mum, you know, she tried her best, but because there was such denial about what had happened to me, my mum definitely didn't want to talk about it, and it affected my relationships with my brother and sister, although we did see each other on and off, but I just think after everything came out, it just became quite difficult for all of us.
Yeah. Now talk about how Christ came into your life and transformed everything, and talk about that.
Okay, wow. I mean, for me personally, I'm glad that I've got His grace, you know, because it's His grace why I'm here. I'm not perfect, and I wasn't perfect when I got saved. I got saved when I was about 21, 22 years old, and it was just when I'd hit the bottom. I was just about to go into hospital. I had a nervous breakdown. I really was finding dealing with my life very, very hard, and there was a pastor, a white man and his wife, who had a church, and I remember some people who were in my life at the time got him to come round to see me, and I prayed the prayer of salvation. He asked me if I wanted help, and I said I did, and he said to me, do you want Jesus to help you? And he told me about what Jesus had done on the cross and how He came to help to save people like me. And I said the prayer of salvation. But
how, because obviously Christ has come into your life, He's changed your heart. How do you then look back at your life and forgive these people? What has it been like, your journey of forgiveness? Did you find it easy, difficult?
Journey of forgiveness has been quite hard. I was able to forgive my dad quite early on, from about 22, something like that. I was able to forgive him. But I found forgiveness of my mum extremely hard. And the reason why was because I was a parent of a child myself, a girl myself. She was my only child. And when I looked on her and saw how I was at 8, 9 years old, I couldn't understand why my mum didn't do more to help me. It was only years later that I was able to actually, I was actually praying one night, and I just felt in my heart that it was, Jesus was actually saying to me that, you know, I should forgive her. And I must say that forgiveness is an act. You have to do it. It's not a feeling, you know, and God gives you the grace to be able to forgive. It's something that has been a journey for, if I'm honest, forgiveness, I have to keep on bringing it to God, you know, because there has been quite a few times where I felt pain and still feel hurt, and I have to keep on doing it and giving it to Him.